welcome to the Talkoffame podcast. In this episode of the Talkoffame podcast, I sit down with the talented actor and producer, Sam Humphrey. As a fan of The Great Showman, I have been eagerly awaiting an opportunity to speak with someone from the movie. And today, I'm really so excited to talk with Sam. Sam, originally hailing from New Zealand, shares his unique journey in the entertainment industry from his roles in the popular films like The Greatest Showman and Jeremy the Dud to his work as a producer advocate for equality. Listeners would gain insight to Sam's experiences and how they have shaped him into how successful and inspiring individual he is today. Thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your story with us today on Talk of Fame. It literally is an honor to have you. And thank you, of course, for coming out of your busy schedule to join us for a bit.
Of course, it's definitely my pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be able to share my story and my experiences of what it's like to be on set and, advocating for inclusion, diversity, and equality in such a competitive and, such a competitive industry where Hollywood is definitely the face of, everything we see in society and culture today.
It really is. And that is something me and you have in common because that's something I absolutely love as well. And that's something we're going to discuss later in this episode. I absolutely love that you're advocating for that because of course it's so important to advocate for this industry. But to kick off this episode, where did you kind of find the drive and motivation to pursue passions of acting and producing? Because of course you were born in New Zealand, so
Mhm.
with being from New Zealand, like what was that like for you to kind of dream of being like an actor and producer?
Um, that's actually a good question. I don't know. From a young age, I discovered that acting was something that I wanted to get into. I had done little skits and little plays with my siblings. I'm the youngest of three, um, and I guess my brother had always kind of excelled at doing, very ambitious things in the tech industry, and as brothers, you tend to kind of want to one up each other. And so that was kind of always like a sibling rivalry with
Mhm.
us, a playful sibling rivalry. And so it was kind of always one of those things that with him excelling in the tech industry and doing such ambitious things, it was kind of something for me to try and one up him and excel in such a ambitious industry as well. And acting was where I've always really wanted to go into.
Ye-
But the thing that really led me into the acting industry was Hugh Jackman. Um, I saw him in X-Men when I was very young, and it was about the age of 8 was when I really wanted to pursue acting. And that was kind of where the dream started at the age of 8. Well, it started a little bit earlier, but no one really takes you seriously when you're 5 years old and say you want to be an actor. Because, it's
mhm,
like saying you want to be a fireman or an astronaut. People are
mhm.
just like, oh, that's just a dream of yours. Now when you get older, you'll want to do something more realistic. But that I never grew out of wanting to be an actor, and so when I got to the age of 8, that was where the dream really took hold when I saw Hugh Jackman, and
Mhm.
it all came sort of full circle when I got to be in The Greatest Showman and got to act alongside Hugh Jackman for the first time, and such a pivotal and huge film.
I know. Once you said Hugh Jackman, my face is lit up. Honestly, that's something me and you actually have in common is that I am the biggest Hugh Jackman fan ever. And a lot of people know that Hugh Jackman's like my favorite person in the entire world. I met him a
Mine
few
too.
times over the last like couple of years, and he is honestly the most kindest person ever, like a family man. Like he's just one of a kind, and like ever since I became a fan of him in 2019, I was like, I always, my dream was always to work with him. And I always,
Mm.
he made, like with The Greatest Showman, of course, my favorite movie of all time. That's really kind of what started. and it became an obsession to a point where I never stopped. And I'm the type of person that absolutely loves music, so that's kind of why I love the movie so much. But working
Mm,
with Hugh Jackman, like that is like a dream that you're absolutely living. Like I wish I could do that at some point, maybe next few years, who knows? But that is something, he's just a great person to look up to because how
mm,
amazing person he is on and off screen. Of course, with X-Men. It's literally like something that's iconic. And of
mm.
course, with him coming out with Deadpool Wolverine in July, that's something that I'm really super excited for to the point where I just want it to be in July already. But honestly, like he's just a really great person to really look up to.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, Hugh Jackman is like, one of the lines in the movie The Great Showman is that he says to my character, to Charles Stratton, aka Tom Thumb, he says that he was the one who brought me into the
Mhm.
limelight, and he was the one who put me, in front of all of these adoring fans, and he said that they won't see me, they'll see a general. And the song A Million Dreams, as I've said in like many other interviews, it's not just a song that was in the movie. Like it's really become like one of my personal anthems. But that's
Mhm.
my favorite song in the film. Like I know everyone loves This Is Me, and I love This Is Me as well.
Mhm.
Um, and that's an anthem, for everyone in the world. But A Million Dreams is just, for me, it's personal because I've only ever had, like you said, like how did I come from New Zealand to, over here, and like where does my motivation and my ambition come from? Um, it really comes from just being this little kid that grew up in such a tiny country where not a lot of, celebrities, or not a lot of, people had the ambition from New Zealand to come to, the US, and, get into the acting industry and try and make it in Hollywood. But from such a young age, I was that kid that had a
Mhm.
million dreams to
Yeah.
try and be successful in Hollywood. And from a documentary that I did, you can actually see me
Mhm.
talking about, my dreams of coming to Hollywood and trying to be successful, and, making an impact on the world. And so that's, A Million Dreams is really just my personal anthem from the movie. And Hugh Jackman really did, not only in the movie for my character did he put me in front of, the world stage in front of all these people, but he did that for me in real life. So it's a comparison from the film to me in real life for what he did for me.
I love that. Like, does I seen your documentary once it came out, and just say like I absolutely loved it. It's actually amazing.
Thank you.
But A Million Dreams is actually my favorite song too. Because of course, when I was growing up, I'm from Pennsylvania, so I was
Okay.
a very, very shy kid. So of course, growing up, I had like a million dreams that is like that I didn't think I would pursue. As
Mm,
a kid, a shy kid, you wouldn't think like, oh, a shy kid would do so many things. But that's what really a million dreams are made of. And of course, my biggest dream, like years ago, was to meet Hugh Jackman
mm,
and at least see his face. I was like, I don't care if
yeah.
I can talk to him. I just want to see his face. And I can't tell you, when I first met him and once he went inside, I was bawling my eyes out. I was dead. And once, like, that's like what Million Dreams reminds me of. It's of
Mm,
course with a million dreams, it really reminds you of like having a million dreams that you want to come true. And of course,
mm,
when Hugh Jackman made your dream come true, and of course, a lot of people have a dream to be Hugh Jackman that maybe not have the opportunity to. Like I met him, I can't even tell you how many times I met over the last couple of years. It's insane. But it's like to really have that dream to meet like your hero or idol. And like to have someone to look up to like Hugh Jackman that I've been literally looking up to for years is someone that you get to meet after looking up to him for so much. Like seeing him in X-Men and seeing him in so many other things. Like it's really what Million Dreams all about is
mm,
really pursuing something that you really want to pursue for years, is maybe going to become an actor. You've moving from New Zealand to the US to become an actor. Like
mm,
that is something that not a lot of people see often, is someone leaving their home country to become an actor in the US and to get a hit role is something you don't very much see often.
mm. Yeah, and I mean, like, like to say, like to move from another country to, the US, and the US is such a hard country to get into. Like you really got
Mm,
to prove your worth to get into the US.
mm,
Like a lot of my like fellow actor friends, we don't discuss how tough this industry is, especially now. Um, well, the industry is going through a lot of changes with how the industry is with streaming and AI, and AI
mm,
is tough on the acting industry,
mm,
especially since it's just a new way of doing things in the industry, and so actors are we're very very worried about what AI is going to do for this industry right now.
yeah.
But coming from New Zealand and coming to the US, like to get into the country and establish myself as an actor, I have to go through like visas and all this stuff. And I've
Oh,
actually just applied for my third visa to be able to stay in the country and work. So it's very for my fellow actors who, live in the US and are US citizens, it's very fortunate that they are US citizens because they don't have to go through arduous, this arduous journey of proving my worth, which like
mhm,
as a little person, it's just another thing where subconsciously it's like
mhm,
another barrier that I have to get over, which,
mhm,
for mental health, as growing up as a little person with mental health, issues where I've always felt like I've had to prove my worth as a person. And then, as an actor and then as a person having to prove my worth for why can stay in this country is just another thing. So,
yeah,
you know,
totally understand, like, the amount of, time and effort to become like, a citizen or had to be, let's say, in the country, become an actor is something that, a lot of actors, have to deal with, and it's
mm,
something that, it's very hard to deal with, and of course, they have to apply for a visa probably, like, once or twice a year, depending. I don't know how that process works.
mm,
You probably know much more things about it than I do personally, but it's something that can really take so much stress and energy out of you, and something it's very mental health consuming to be able to deal with that, and also making time to be an actor while
mm.
also applying for visas to be able to pursue that.
It's like, yeah, it's balancing the business end of the industry with the creative side of the industry. See, a lot of the times, like actors, we want to focus on the creative side. We want to focus on the artwork. But unfortunately, being an actor, like a lot of people don't see it this way, but being an actor is being an entrepreneur. And so like
True.
not you can focus on the art side and the creative side of being an actor, but unfortunately there comes a lot of business to being an actor. Like, I have to apply for my visas, I have to like, you have to do your own tax, you have to do all the business stuff that comes with being an actor. So,
Mhm,
there's a lot more to it than just, learning lines and, doing auditions. And a lot of people find auditions can take a lot out of you because
mhm,
you focus so hard. And this is something that I had to learn and unlearn as well. Like a lot of
mhm,
times we put so much energy into doing one audition, and then you're kind of drained from doing that audition. And then you stress out so much about, did I land that audition? Did casting even see my tape? Did does
mhm.
casting even know who I am? Did they like my audition? And so there's so much mental energy and mental strength that goes into being an actor that a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of what it takes to be an actor.
Yeah, it honestly can take a lot. With of course, with being an actor, you will probably audition for 100 different roles and probably only land 2 of them. Like, because of
If
course,
that.
acting can be so hard because of course you have to audition for so many things, but you might not get all of them because it's
Mm,
so, it's like a very competitive industry. It's
mm,
like something that you have to work tons to at least get one role and have to go
mhm,
through this process for maybe weeks or months at a time to actually land it, which can drive people insane. Honestly, it would
mm.
drive me insane, honestly. I had to go through that whole process, but I literally applaud for actors that are able to handle that because I would never, because it can take a lot out of you to land this role they may not get.
Mm. Yeah, I mean the amount of energy that goes into it. Like I'm actually preparing to do a self tape tomorrow for the role that I have. coming up. And so like you learn all these lines. And sometimes it feels like an effortless pursuit because you learn all these lines. Like you can get pages and pages of lines that you have to memorize in such a short amount of time. Like, I mean, nowadays it's gotten better since, unfortunately, the writers and the actors, we went on strike last year for,
Mhm.
6 to 8 months. So it's gotten a little bit better with the amount of lead time that we have leading up to auditions and the turnaround time. But like sometimes you can get, I've had roles where I've gotten like 8 to 10 pages of lines where you have like 3 days to learn them and then put it on a self tape. And so like your memory has to be like sharp in order
Mhm.
to memorize, 5 pages worth of lines. Um, and so that's only part of it. And then, like you said, you have to wait for, casting to go through the approval process because a lot of the times it's not just casting that gets their, say on whether they like the actor and whether they want the actor for the role. Casting might absolutely love you, but it's
Mhm.
not just their decision. They have to go to the studio. They have to go to the director. They have to go to the producers. They have to go to so many people to get approval on you. And so
Mhm.
if only one person doesn't like you or doesn't think you're right for the role, they can be the key decision maker about whether or not you land the role. And I've had several roles where I've made it, so far into the process where I've been shortlisted and where it's only been between me and 2 or 3 other actors, and then you're just crossing your fingers and you're just hoping that you're the right person. But then if the studio says no or the producer or the director says no, then unfortunately it's a no. And so you just have to say, well, I got this far in the process and maybe next time I'll get even further.
Yeah.
So you have to have a really strong mental attitude and just say, well, it's not this role and it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's the next one.
Yeah, like that is honestly something that like you had to prepare yourself for. Of course, we're getting
Mm,
so far in, the person might have to pick between you and 2 or 3 other people, and you
mm,
might not end up getting it, which can be so hard for a lot of people if you really wanted it. But of course, it may not be meant to be. But of course,
mm,
it can be the next role that you actually book, you know? That is something that honestly I'm so glad I'm not an actor because I'm like honestly, I would not be able to handle being so many no's and be so far in the process. So I really like applaud for so many people that have to deal with that and actually pulling through. But
mm,
it's something that is very like agitating to cross your fingers to actually get this role with
mm.
being so far in the process and actually praying that you actually get it. That is something that you get us getting very antsy after a while at some
You
point.
do. Yeah. Actually, one like something that I like am pursuing now, like as a little person, that I found is it's very hard work and it's very stressful and not a lot of people can do it, but I really love doing creature acting, which is when you get inside like creature suits, when you play like aliens or you play different roles that require you to be in full body prosthetics or be inside creature suit for hours. And a project that I actually just did at the start of April was a short film that is going to be submitted to all the major film festivals. And
Mhm.
I was playing an alien on a on a foreign planet. And we actually went out to the California desert in Corona Pinnacles, and we shot there for 4 days. And it was
Oh,
really,
wow.
it was really long. It was really stressful, and I was inside this alien creature suit. Um, if people want to, see the alien creature suit, it's on my Instagram. Um, but the suit weighed 20 pounds,
Oh,
and
wow.
it had an animatronic head, and we also had a puppet head. Um, and I'm inside like this big furry creature suit. It's really big and like puffy. And shooting in the desert was really, really tough.
Mm.
Because like the wind got up to like 30 miles an hour,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was really hot inside the creature suit. I couldn't see anything around me. I had no visual acuity. I had no spatial awareness. Basically, inside the suit is like completely. It's not pitch black, but like it's just full of foam, and it's I can't see anything. And basically, I had to get like my sense of direction and my sense of awareness from like the assistant like director and all the different like people that we had on the set to tell me like where to walk and my direction and everything. So it's something that not everyone can do, but it's very exciting to do because it's different from, the average acting role that you might get. So I'm hoping that gives me some more notability in the field of creature acting. And once it gets to the film festivals, that allows me to break out into more, creature acting.
And shooting in the desert with hot weather, I could
Yeah,
not.
it's very
Like, when
ambitious.
the aliens do it and making it so much hotter, I would probably pass out in the first 5 minutes. I would
I pretty much did
with them.
every time.
Yeah, imagine like I've never been like outside of LA, so I don't know what the desert looks like out there, or how hot it is. Of course, every desert is different, but with being in a desert and being in an alien suit, that makes it so much hotter. I'll be like, this is not for me, man. This is not like if it was maybe a couple like 60 degrees or something, possibility. But if it's like 90 degrees, I'm like, I'll probably pass out in the first 5 minutes if
Well,
I.
there were many factors, involved with shooting that made it very troubling. I mean, there was the wind that was like 30, 40 miles an hour. At several points, literally the wind did almost like take me. I actually had to have several people hold me down, and then the moment we were about to shoot, they literally had to like run, like sprint out of frame. Inside the suit, it was absolutely hilarious because I couldn't like see and I couldn't really hear. And so basically they would hold me down because the wind was just like getting hectic. And then the next thing I would hear is I would hear over the walkie-talkie that I had inside my suit is I would just hear, all right, now sprint, run out of frame. And then I would just hear like everyone like sprinting as hard and as fast as I can to just like get out of frame before they started rolling. And then like we were on because we were in the desert, like the terrain was just like was completely rocky and everything. And I also had to actually run. There were a few scenes that we shot where I had to run inside the suit. So completely blind, not knowing what I was doing or where I was running or walking. I had to run. And there were a few scary moments because we also shot on like this cliff edge, and so I couldn't see anything, and so I just had to have them like guide me along like the path where I had to walk. And there were a few moments where I came very close to the cliff edge where
Oh God.
like I would turn towards the cliff edge and I couldn't see, so all I heard was like stop, because they would have to shout at me before I took another step, because I would have either walked like very close to the cliff edge or I would have stepped over the cliff edge. So
And just fall
yeah,
over and
yeah, and I
not
would have been
doing
gone.
anything.
So
I'll be like, I probably wouldn't hear in my brain. I'll probably be like, wouldn't hear anything and just fall off. That is also something I would do. I probably wouldn't hear anything in an alien suit and just fall over the cliff and be like, again, I'll be like, what did I just fall over? What just happened? I did not hear
yeah,
anything. That was
it's
not
what you
me.
do for the for the for art. The price of art is it's what we do.
Yeah, and plus, you might as well put in the movie to get some laughs out of it. Might as well just keep it in, just
Yeah,
keep getting laughs out of it. I wouldn't mind that part.
sure.
But of course, to
That
go
can be in
back,
the deleted scenes if
yeah,
I
it really is
survived.
neat to put it at the ending credits. We could just put it
Yeah,
there if we wanted to.
yeah.
But to get back to the Greatest Showman, so of course he played Tom Thumb.
Mhm.
You were one of the main characters in the movie, and of course, like, how did you get the role of Tom Thumb? Like,
Mm.
was that kind of like a hard process?
Yeah, so actually the funniest thing is I could have been like literally one keystroke away from never being Tom Thumb.
Mm.
Because I got the email, so I had at the time I had an agent in the UK who specialized in like really unique actors, like really tall actors and really short actors. And so I was with them, I'd signed with them 2 years earlier, and I completely forgot that I'd signed with them. I forgot that I had an agent in the UK at all. And then out of the blue one day, they sent me an email. And at the time, The Greatest Showman was called The Greatest Showman on Earth.
Oh
No,
yeah.
sorry, it was called The Greatest Show on Earth. And so I thought that was kind of a bizarre name. But anyway, I got the email and I read the email and I was like, hmm, this is a 20th Century Fox film.
Mhm.
And what went through my head was, well, this can't be real because why would, they be coming to me? Because at the time I was an unknown, no one knew who I was. So I got the email and I was like, why would 20th Century Fox be, sending me this role to audition for? Because I'm a no name. And yeah, that was what was going through my head. And I thought it was a hoax. And so literally, I had my finger over the delete button. I was going to delete the email and I was not even going to give it a second thought. Um, and then, the actor inside me was like, you know what? I've got to go for it. And so I called up my agent. I was like, "Is this, for real?" And my agent says, "It's for real." And so I'm like, "Oh wow, okay." They're like, They need your audition back within 48 hours. I was like, "Oh geez, that's such a short turnaround."
Mhm.
Um, and so I called up my best friend. I was like, "I need your help to, self-tape this audition for this 20th Century Fox film." He's like, "Oh my gosh!" So I went to his house and we taped the audition. There were three scenes that I had to do. I sent it into my agent, and like always, you're like, "Okay, well, send it in." I'm probably never gonna hear back from them,
Mhm.
like most auditions. Next thing I know, like after the 48-hour turnaround, I get a email and call back from my agent said they really liked your audition. You're through to the next round. They would like you to actually Skype with the director. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm Skyping with the director. And so
That
I
is like
Skyped with
very
the
rare.
director, Michael Gracie,
Mhm.
phenomenal guy, an Australian, which on set, everyone was completely confused. They thought I was Australian, which I'm not.
Mhm.
But I Skyped with the director, and so I did my audition again with the director. He really liked it. And then he goes, "Okay, I really like you. I think you're great. We have to, get approval from the studio and from, myself, which he had already approved me. But so they had to get all the approvals from the producer and the studio and everything else.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll wait to hear back from, you and my agent and casting." And again, I thought I'd never hear back from them. And I was on pins and needles. Like a week went by. I was like, I'm done. I've not been selected. But then after about a week, I got an email that says, "Congratulations, we've decided to move forward, and we have selected you to be Tom Thumb, aka Charles Stratton, aka Tom Thumb, in The Greatest Showman." And I was like, what just happened? Like going through my head and all that. And when I had done the audition, when I had chosen to do the audition, I didn't know that Hugh Jackman was actually on the project at the time.
I was
And so,
actually just gonna ask you that question, actually, so you did
yeah,
completely answer my
I
question.
didn't know. And at the time, I was like, okay, I'll submit for the audition. And obviously, I found out that it was a musical. I was like, oh gosh, it's a musical. Because I said, like, before this, I said I would never do a musical in my life. Never, ever, ever. Because I'm not musically talented. I can act, but I can't sing.
Yeah.
So,
It's like the
doing a
one other
musical,
app, like, as long as I act, you won't let me sing, then I'll actually do it. If I sing,
yeah.
then not a chance.
Luckily, it's not my voice, someone else is singing over me, thank goodness, because I'm
Mhm.
like, my singing voice was atrocious. Um, um, the shower is about as far as I get with singing. So, and I'll never
Honestly,
do
same here.
karaoke either.
Same here.
So I get an email back. I was like, absolutely floored. Like, a million things were going through my mind. And then, I find out that before, I actually got approved for, the film, I had found out that Hugh Jackman was going to be a part of it. When I found out that Hugh Jackman was going to be a part of it, I was like, okay, I don't care what this is, musical or anything. I just want to be a part of the movie now because Hugh Jackman's a part of it. And like, if before I wanted to land a role, I was like, if I land the role, great. If I don't land the role, that's fine. But once I found out that Hugh Jackman was in this film, I was like, never before had I wanted to land a role more than I wanted to land this role because I just wanted to meet Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And I got to meet him, got to work with him, and that was phenomenal. But before they could, officially, approve me, so they said that they wanted me for the role, but they had to also fly me out to meet the director, in person. So for the official approval and everything, I had to fly to Vancouver to 100% lock in the role. So I'd been approved by the studio and the producers and everything, and they sent me the email to say that they wanted me. But 100% locked in. I had to fly 30 hours to Vancouver to meet the director.
For
And
30
it was
hours
crazy.
in a plane, I would not last.
It was literally a 1 hour meeting. I flew like 30 hours to go to Vancouver, meet him for 1 hour,
then
stay in
home.
Vancouver, and then fly home.
Was
crazy.
I would never for 1 hour meeting on a 30-hour flight. I would lose my mind.
But it was it was all worth it in the end.
It was worth it in the end. Honestly, if I was your position, once I found Hugh Jackman was going to be in the movie, if I didn't want to do the movie, I would be like, all right, let me think about it. And once I hear Hugh Jackman's in the movie, I'll honestly sprint as hard as I can to this good.
I was like, in my mind, I was like, you don't have to pay me anything. Just fly me there, put me up, and I will work with Hugh Jackman for free. But luckily they did pay me, so.
I'll honestly say the same thing. I'm like, I don't care if you pay me at all. I don't care if you pay me for free. I would do anything. Honestly, that'll probably be the fastest yes I will ever say in my life, honestly.
Yeah.
If anything, I'll be like, I don't care if I do acting ever again. I'll be like, as long as I work with Hugh Jackman, I don't care if I ever work again.
I mean, as the Great Showman's really propelled me forward, further in my career, and anything that anything else has so far. And I'm just really grateful to Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman also had to. I believe Hugh Jackman also had to approve me. So I'm just very happy that he did approve me as well. Because he was one of the producers, I believe, as well. And Greatest Showman was 7 years in the making, and it's such a phenomenal movie. Anyone who hasn't seen it yet, what the heck are you doing? It's been 5 years. You should have seen it by now. So do go see it. Not just because I'm in it. There's so many, fabulous, actors and singers, and Zendaya's in it. Don't go see it because I'm in it. Go see it because Zendaya's in it.
They will let me steal immediately.
Yeah. But it's just become, such a iconic, sensational movie. It's, for culture and society, and for what it's done for a lot of people around the world. I get messages every day. It's kind of calmed down now, but when the film first came out, I was getting messages every single day about what the Greatest Showman has done for people, and to be a part of a project that's changed so many people's lives. I can't say. I really can't say, what it feels like to be a part of other people's lives, and for people to say that I'm their favorite character. It just touches my heart in a way that other things that I've done hasn't. So
it definitely is the biggest part. The Greatest Showman definitely has impacted my life. I literally know every scene, every dance. I know all the words to the point where I can just replays the movie with the volume all the way down. That's because I've seen it so many times. I can watch every
Mm,
day. Just never get bored. It's one of my favorite movie of all time. I never get bored. But it really has become such a movie that it will forever be iconic. With the
mm,
stars in it and the people in it and the dancing, the music. Justin and Benj really did an awesome job with the music. They are forever iconic. I think they did La La Land as well. So
mhm.
really, the movies will forever be iconic.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. There's going to Showman 2 coming out soon. Well,
Hey,
you know,
fingers
we
crossed
never
for
know
that
what
one.
Disney's up to.
If there is a second one, I'll be the first one in theaters to see it the first day it comes out. So you'll
Awesome.
But I think that's honestly the perfect way to wrap up this episode. I literally this is literally a dream come true. I literally loved having you on, and I
Thank
literally
you.
love everything you're doing. And it really is a truly honor to have you on and talk with you for an episode. I know this has been in the works for a hot minute, so I'm really glad
Hmm.
that we have finally had this conversation.
Yeah, me too. And thank you for having me. And just to everyone out there, you know, stay tuned to my social media, which is at the Sam Humphrey on Instagram, and Facebook is also the Sam Humphrey, and also on Threads. If you have Threads, I don't even know what Threads is anymore.
Either, I'm the
Um,
same way. I just
but
call
yeah,
it
feel
Twitter
free to follow
2.0
me.
for some reason. That's the only reason I call it.
It's Instagram's Twitter. I
Yeah.
don't. I try to I try to update it, but honestly, I always forget about it.
Yeah,
Every time
I'm
I
the
come
same
back to
way.
it, I'm like, sorry, I'll stay more active on it, and then I
Mhm.
never do. So,
Yeah, I'm the
um,
same way. I'm the same way.
yeah, feel free to follow me on any of my social media platforms, and you'll be able to follow everything that I'm doing, and especially all the different projects that I'm working on. And hopefully, you'll see more projects from me coming out within the next couple years, and also
Absolutely.
my philanthropy projects that I work on as well, especially my platform, The Little Guy, which is a human advocacy brand that I'm
Love it.
developing.
Love it. So you heard them, check them out. But thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to subscribe, like, and tune in for future episodes. But thank you again, Sam, for joining us. And I really hope you have a
Awesome.
great rest of your day.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.